Well, it's kind of late to be starting a video, but we are finally back on the Cape. Basically a one day to work. Tomorrow's going to be a good day. Going to be beautiful all day. But on Tuesday, we've got tropical rainstorms coming in because of the hurricane down further on the coast. In the meantime, I'm out here to get the old girl unwrapped for now. And once I get her all unwrapped, at least be all set up for tomorrow morning so I can start working. And I'll detail all of that later, but so glad. It's been a whole month since we've been down here, so look forward to getting things started. After a month, finally back home again aboard Little Girl. And with just one day ahead of us, a couple of main projects we're going to do. Going to work on the tow rails again, doing some sanding, a little bit of pulling old bungs. Still don't have the bung cutter for those, but I've got some teak here, and I'm going to bung cut the 3/8 stuff for the combings. In the meantime, the other thing, you can't see it up there right now, but I'm going to put the anchor down on the ground and put out all the road, all the chain, and check everything start to finish. I know that I've got a link in between the chain and the road that definitely has got to be replaced. It's rusted all to pieces, and that's going to be one of my projects. Got a little bit of money left on my gift card over to West Marine, so I'm going to go by and pick up a link. But in the meantime, it is just so awesome to be back. Even if I got just a day to get some stuff done, at least I'm going to get some stuff done. And it'll never get in the water this year, but at least I can get a little bit closer every time I'm down here. The other projects I'm going to do, let me see if I can go pull this out right now. The other project I'm going to do, and this is not going to be anything that's going to be easily done. Right underneath this hatch are these beauties. And boy, there's not enough light in here. Hang on, let me just stick on this light right here. There we go. There you can see them. These through hulls are ancient. One is for saltwater input into the marine head that used to be in here. The other one is for the poop outlet to overflow here. And I want both of these out of here. I want to glass them shut. That is not going to be easy. I'm just looking at this right now, the way that this is cut out here. I don't know how in the world I'm ever going to get that done. Because am I just dodging mosquito in here? I guess we get some mosquitoes. Anyway, but you see, this is the liner. And boy, I mean, getting at that to grind that out, that is not going to be easy. Getting this out, I don't know how difficult it's going to be. It's not going to be fun. Stupid liner. I may have to cut it in order to access those. And I want to pull these things out of here and fiberglass this hull solid, so that the only through hulls I will have left then are for my bilge outlet right underneath here. You're not going to be able to see it in here anyway. I'm not going to mess with it tonight. But anyway, got a bilge pump outlet that is just below the water line. I mean, just below. And the outlet for the sink. Those two through hulls will stay. And they look sound. They look, I see no problem with those, but I want these out of here. There's no need for them. And I want to fiberglass these shut. It's going to be a long project. But anyway, that's it for tonight. That gets you started on some of the stuff I'm going to be looking at. And we may or may not get to this part of the project, but it is on the radar. Tomorrow, got a couple of main things I've already outlined, and we'll get to all of this beginning tomorrow morning early. It's about 20 after 6. Problem with this time of the year is things are staying dark in the morning, so you don't always can't get a jump on the day the way you normally would. Pop the trunk here to unload some equipment, get started on the day, get up and get into the cockpit of little girl, start sanding out some winch pads. Well, that's the last coat of Fantail for the starboard winch pad. The reason I wanted to get these done first is because I'm going to be taking apart these winches later on. I got out the, the winch handle last night, and I've got a whole detailed thing on how to do a restoration on Merriman winches. And that's what these are. These are Merriman. And that is basically a big screw, and the end of the winch handle, it acts as a big screwdriver, and you just turn it and it unlocks the whole mechanism. The drum lifts up off, and so on and so forth. That's for later. I wanted to get this done early. I'm going to go ahead and get the port winch pad done right now. Got to sand that one out, get the last coat of Fantail on that one as well. With the winch pads all sanded out and Fantailed, I did look it up, and unfortunately, Fantail takes 24 hours to dry, which means I'm probably not going to be able to do the overhaul of the Merriman winches today. That's going to have to wait for another time, but I'll go ahead and study up on it. I brought all the stuff with me, so I'll leave it here and have that ready to go for next time I'm down. In the meantime, this Fantail has got to dry and harden up, and when we get back on the next trip, we'll go ahead and be able to pull these winches apart and service them. I may look into how much it costs for parts, but I don't think they're going to need it. I think these are going to work just fine. You can tell they need some greasing in there. I'll go ahead and pull them to pieces and clean everything right down and lubricate the insides of these and put them back together. So anyway, breakfast starved out of my mind. So I was sitting there having my second coffee very lazily, not on the boat, and all of a sudden I think, oh, the sun is out. I got to get out here and get my solar panel out. I'm here. Well, it's not showing on this end of the house very much yet, but still going to do it. Get this solar panel out. Then I'm going to go back and have my second coffee and enjoy some time with my folks before I get back out here and continue the work zone. Okay, enough lazy time sitting around doing coffee. At least I did get my solar panel out. Okay, next thing. Winch pads are done. We've got to unwrap this boat. The anchor's got to come down off of there. And got to stretch out the chain in the road and see where we're at. See how much we got. See what condition it's in. I think everything is in good condition except for the link. And we're going to go take care of that. So, next project. Okay. Well, I got a lot of road. I only got 11 feet of chain, which will get it down on the bottom. And that looks like about a 20-pound Danforth. And anyway, this has got to be replaced. This link right here is all rusted out. It's a mess. But in the meantime, I've marked it, and I have no idea how to do this. I didn't look it up on YouTube or anything like that, but there's 10 feet with one mark going up here. And there's 20 feet with two, and so forth. That's what I'm going to be doing right on up the line. But you can see the pile here. I don't know. It's at least 60, 70 feet. I don't know. I'll find out. Okay, well, whoever did this kind of did all my work for me. So I got up to about 30 feet, and everything starts getting marked. Here's a 30-footer, and they've got tags on this thing. And it's every 30 feet. So down there's a 60. Back here is a 90, it should be. Where is it? Yeah, a 90. And then it comes up to 120. And then it's got another, and then it's got a 150. Where's the 150? Yeah, there's the 150. 150. And it looks like, and I didn't measure it. Well, then it's got another 30 out beyond that. Is what, I've got tied off to there. So 150. So I basically got 180 feet of road. And this road is in immaculate condition. I mean, this is just, now the stuff that's been in the water more, you can't tell here. It's really, it's still in great condition. There's no mildew on it. There's no rot on it. It's in super condition. All the stuff that out to the longer lengths, man, it doesn't look like it's ever been in the water. So yeah, I can go with this. Basically 180 feet of road. That'll work all day. And by the way, keep in mind these are Cape Cod waters. Not all that deep around here. I'm sure you could probably get into some deep holes, but for the most part, this is good news. It's got just 11 feet of anchor chain to keep it on the bottom, but with I think that must be a 20. I'm going to check it in a minute, that Danforth. But with 20 feet of 11 feet of chain and 180 feet of road, yeah, I think we're good to go. So now I got to get it all back down the chain locker and figure out some way to anchor it to the boat. So anyway, good news. It's one of my projects, one of my main projects for coming down here this month. And I'm really glad to get this part of it done. All right, by hook or by crook, I finally managed to get this piece of garbage off. This was the link up that there was between the road and the chain. And it was just rusted and all the crap. So that's all. Managed to pry it apart. So I got it off. And I went up to West Marine and show you first of all what was on the chain to begin with. That's 5/16. It's a 5/16 shackle. And they didn't even, and this has been on there for years, okay? 5/16 shackle. And they didn't even put seizing wire on it. And it's been on there all this time. Now, eventually, this is all going to get seizing wire. But in the meantime, I got another 5/16 shackle. And there it is. There's the end of the chain. There's the road. And fits like a charm. I'm going to crank that down with my screwdriver. Actually, I got some vice grips, and I'll crank that down, make it sure it's good and tight. And when I have a few more bucks, seizing wire at West Marine is ridiculously expensive. Anyway, this is done for now. All this is going back in the chain locker. We'll fix all this up at a later date. Time to move on. Next project after lunch. Okay, I pulled the original Fantail trim off from this thing a year ago in July. And then after that, during the winter, I cut a brand new piece of mahogany. This is it. And it precisely fits. It doesn't look up now because it hasn't been laid down with the screws and so forth. But it's all set up, all cut around the aft stay. And this is where the stern light goes, and this matches the deck below, and everything is all set to go, right? Except for one thing. Tow rails hadn't been done. Well, they've all been stripped now, and what I've done, because I'm so sick of this thing not being on here, I mean, I've had this thing cut for over a year. I've gone ahead and just sanded all this out in the area where this is going to be seated and bedded down and put into place. And I'm going to put some Fantail on these tow rails, at least up to the first bung. Actually, the first bung being actually second bung right here. And you're going to just Fantail all the way to here. And when I get ready to sand out the rest and do the rest of the Fantail, I will just sand it and just start adding coats. But for right now, I'm sick of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some Fantail down, get them all set up so that I can go ahead and put my Fantail trim. Okay, tow rail is done, port and starboard here at the stern. So by the time I come down here next time, I can throw another coat or two on and maybe get my Fantail trim on. In the meantime, I continue sanding this. Some really serious damage here. I don't know what I'm going to do with that just yet. I don't have any teak on hand to be able to cut that out and replace it, but we're thinking about it. I got a bung missing there, which that's easily done. I can. Right now I'm without a 1/2-inch bung cutter. I do have a 3/8, and I'm going to work on that this afternoon for the combings. But anyway, everything ahead of this though is in great shape. All the way up to your the track for your sheets. And this has all been sanded out, and it's really tempting to throw some more Fantail down, but I don't think I will for this time. At least it's sanded out all the way up to the sheets track there. I don't know if that's the right terminology. I'm not. Anyway, so that's done. That's done over there. And I'm going to let all this dry down. Maybe by the time I put the wraps on it, it'll be dry enough to where it won't get all messed up. I'm waiting for my wife to get home because I got some equipment there in the trunk of the car. And the moral of this story is unload all your stuff. That way your wife can take your car and you don't need to worry about it. And it's time for New Stuff Corner. And you ask, what in the world is it? Okay, well, it's about 8.5 yards, which is way more than I'm going to need, of beautiful royal blue canvas fabric that is going to be covering my cushions, port and starboard, quarter berths. And there it is. So royal blue, about 8.5 yards, and I got it at half price. Joanne Fabrics was having a sale. It would normally go for about $85, and I got it for $42. So it's a lot of canvas, and I think it's 59 wide. Good grief, this thing's almost 6 feet wide. There's more than enough here to do all kinds of stuff in here, little curtain things and all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is this is going to cover my the cushions, new cushions for the quarter berths. So anyway, that's first one. Second one is you're seeing it as I'm talking. This is my new cell phone, a brand new Moto E5 cell phone. It's supposed to be really good. I had a glitch this morning. I couldn't believe it. It was not picking up my vocal as I was trying to shoot a segment here. So we'll see. So far, I like it. It seems to be recorded pretty well, other than that little glitch I had this morning. And it picks up, the sound is clearer, if anything. But anyway, so that's it. That's all I got for this time. So all new material for the quarter berths and any other accoutrements we may want to do on board. That'll do it for today. And moving on, I got some other stuff to get done before we put this boat under wraps for the night. Rain coming in by midnight. It's all remnants of the hurricane that's down there in the Carolinas. All right, I'm shooting this segment with the centerboard still in the trunk of my car. I'm not even going to take it out because I'm not going to have time. I'm really up against it on trying to get everything done before rain gets here tonight, and I've got to get the boat under wraps. So here's the plan. This is a centerboard, and we already went over this in the last video or two. This inserts up into the keel slot on the boat, and when it does, it slides. There's a pin that's going to be put into the keel slot, and I've got to install it. But that's what this is about, is positioning that pin. So what we're going to do, I'm going to build a jig. that is going to go across the bottom of the keel, and it's going to lie perfectly flush up against the bottom and perfectly horizontal to the axis of the boat. And I gotta level the boat. That's one of the things that's first and foremost. I gotta get up there with a level and make sure that everything is perfectly straight and across there. But then what happens is, this is going to insert up in there. That keel, that jig that I'm going to make is going to come up on each side of the keel, and not the outside of the keel, and it will be exactly positioned at this distance, from this distance to right here. This is where the pin goes through. Okay, and when it slides in, you slide in and forward, and that, you know, as this slides forward in the keel slot, the pin goes back to here, and then you let it drop down, and it resides right here. Okay, that's where the pin goes through. And everything pivots off from that. So what happens is that this jig is going to be made so that it's perfectly aligned here, comes across the bottom of the keel, and it has a fin that goes up each side of it. And that fin is going to have a hole in it that is perfectly positioned to be exactly like this. And it won't be hard to do, because all I got to do is take that flat of wood and lay this on top of it, drill a hole right through here. You do 2 of those, okay? Then you build a horizontal that those 2 fins go onto, and you just line it up on the bottom of the keel and slide it up and drill through from each side. That way you're coming, and you make sure you're horizontal, and you should be able to get a pin that precisely lines with where that needs to go into the centerboard. So that's the ticket. That's what I've worked out. Let me know if you see any flaw in that, but that's what I've got worked out. And anyway, I hope I didn't lose you on that. But anyway, I'm going to just leave this right in here. It's going back to Vermont in order to build that. I've got to do some measurements on the keel this afternoon, but other than that, I'm getting ready to button up the boat. And we're going to go down to Seafood Sam's and have some supper tonight, and then spend some time with the family. Well, she's all wrapped up with the remnants of Hurricane Florence coming in here this afternoon. She's all ready, and a lot of wind picking up. Got some videos of that earlier. Rain is coming in this afternoon, and a lot of it. So anyway, sorry, old girl, that I can't be sitting in the cabin and doing the goodbyes. But anyway, guys, thanks for dropping by Restoring Little Girl. Hope you come again, and been a great trip. Thanks.